World record, obviously you got very emotional with that. Just can you take us through what that moment was like for you, and then also the second part, how fast Catherine has been going this meet maybe help push you to that mark?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of factors that went into tonight's time. There were many years that went by after 2019 where I thought that I would never do that ever again. So that was a long time coming, and it took a lot of practicing, improving my confidence with Bob and with Coach Eric and a lot of my teammates too. So I knew that I had it in me, but for a long time I didn't. So I'm really, really happy that I finally started to believe in myself. And after seeing Gretchen break the world record in the 100 fly on night one, I was so inspired by that. Doing that alongside next to her was great. So I really wanted to do something special myself. And then like you said, seeing Catherine break 58, that is so freaking hard to do. And yeah, she's one of 5 women to ever do it. And that was awesome, getting to race next to her and the two of us going 2 of the fastest times ever in that event. So I just think overall it was like an A+ race for so many girls in that field, but I'm so psyched.
And in that moment specifically, what did you feel that moment when you saw it?
Just like, fuck yeah, long time coming, it's about time. So I was psyched. And the feeling of getting it tonight versus getting it 5 years ago was like so different. I can't really pinpoint exactly what was different about each race 5 years ago and then tonight, but yeah, I was just psyched out of my mind. It was great. Pat.
Hey, Regan, Pat Forney from Sports Illustrated. Congratulations. You kind of answered my question with the fuck yeah there. But I was there in 2019 when you broke the record, and it kind of seemed like everything was easy for you at that point. And now it obviously hasn't been as easy, but so how rewarding is it to sit here now?
Yeah, it's incredibly rewarding because when you're 17, when you're a teenager, and I hadn't really done much to my name yet, and you're right, it was very easy. I had no pressure on me. I was always the youngest. Nobody really expected much out of me, and so it was so easy to just walk into races feeling so fearless and not really caring what the outcome was. And I really just shocked myself at that meet in 2019 because I didn't think I was capable of it. And now tonight, I'm in a much different place in my life. I'm a lot older, obviously. The pressure's a lot different. The expectations are a lot different for myself and other people on me. So it's a very different experience, but I think I've learned a lot over these 5 years. I've had a lot of lows in backstroke in particular, but I think it's taught me a lot, and it's helped me definitely strengthen things on the mental side, because I think I've always had it physically. I just for a long time didn't have it mentally, but I've worked really, really hard with Bob and a lot of my teammates, and I've learned a lot from all of them, and I think that's really helped what culminated a great swim tonight.
Regan, Lane Higgins from the Wall Street Journal, and we don't get to see you in practice, we just see the times you post in meets, and based on how you've been performing this spring, it seems like you've sort of been knocking on the door of a best time in this event for a lot of meets, and finally, I think this is 3 best times in a row for you in this event. So was there a point when you maybe knew that not even just the world record, but a best time was possible, and when you started to really, really believe in yourself, kind of like you were saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been, like you said, sitting at 57.6, 57.7, so consistently in season for 2.5 years now. And so I always knew that I had a best time in me, because that's just tenths of a second we're talking about. So it's I don't know, having longer fingernails or something, you know what I mean? So I always knew that I had it in me, but it was just putting together that perfect race. And so I think maybe it was a slight mental block, because I was always right there, right knocking on the door, like you said. But then once I did it, finally, what was it, a month ago now? I think that kind of opened the floodgates for me to do something really great. At least that's the way that I look at it. So yeah, once I was able to do it once, I think it made it easier to continue to do it, which is great.
Regan, Nicole Auerbach, The Athletic. Can you just describe to us what it's like to swim the backstroke in a football stadium? Was there an adjustment? It's kind of wild, just again, not someone who was out there, but thinking about you breaking a world record in this setting that was so unique.
Yeah, it was really exciting for a lot of reasons. The crowd was incredible, so that was super fun. And the interesting thing about swimming under a jumbotron is when you're on your back, you can like see yourself because there's screens and you can see the race going on. And so I actively try to avoid it because in semifinals last night, I could see the world record line as I was approaching the finish. And I didn't want to think about that like during the race, like watching myself like chasing the world record line. So I think that's the only thing. It's like not letting yourself get distracted by the jumbotron. But other than that, it's just like swimming in any other pool, honestly. I know some people were worried like, oh, the ceiling's so high, are they gonna have a hard time like staying straight? And I could tell, I think I kind of hugged the lane line coming home. Like I didn't have a perfectly straight race, but that's all right. Overall, it was a pretty typical feeling race, which was good.
John Mullen, Social Kick, Race Swim Reagan.
Thank you.
Like you said, you've been building confidence here. Is confidence the main thing that you think changed between, you know, your most recent swims and specifically the American record yesterday, or anything else happened differently technically or biomechanically during the race?
I think it's confidence all the way. I think I've always had it physically. I think I've always had like a God-given natural ability to swim backstroke, but I just never believed in myself, ever. And that's always going to be a work in progress, I think. But after 2019 and then heading into 2021 trials, I was at like my absolute lowest point, confidence-wise. I didn't want to be there. I wasn't excited. I had no faith in myself. I wanted other people to do it because I thought that they were going to be better off doing it than I was. And that's so sad to think about now because, like I just said, I always had it, but I just didn't have it up here. And so I really, really owe it to Bob and to Eric and my teammates at ASU and now at Texas, just because they've taught me so much. I think what I really struggle with is separating emotion from logic. And I think the best of the best, they're able to stay logical in the hardest times. And that's what I always struggled with, because when logic goes out the door and emotion comes in, that's when you choke. And I did that over and over and over because I just let my emotions take over. And I think I'm really starting to do a good job at staying logical and knowing what I'm capable of and knowing what I do in practice and knowing what my abilities are. And I think that's what's really taken me this far.
We're going to go Paul and then Henry.
Hi, Regan, Paul Newberry from Associated Press. Congratulations. What was there a turning point? It sounds like it's still a work in progress to gain, to make sure that confidence is there. Was there anything you could point to? Do you remember any moment or something happened that you said, I can do this, I can get back to a world record again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I started working consistently with my sports psychologist, Emily Klee, back in like October. And she was so good at drilling into me, like looking at the facts, like remaining logical and saying like, okay, like here's what's true about you and who you are as a swimmer, as an athlete, as a person. And here's what's not true. Like here's what's here's your emotions, and here's what's not true, but what you're telling yourself. And so once she like drilled that into me over and over and over, and then Bob as well, giving me insane sets and building my confidence physically, and then being around a lot of male teammates who are just so good at being dogs every day in practice and not caring. I think that all just kind of came together, and like you mentioned, and as I mentioned, it's still a work in progress, right? So I'm not sure if there was like an aha moment, but I think just every meet that I've been to, I've been consistently feeling more confident in myself and more sure of myself. And I have less self-doubt in my head, and I'm able to just look at things through a very logical and steady lens. And before I was always like, oh my gosh, can I do this? I don't really want to do this. Like I was really letting the fear move in. And I think I'd say, yeah, like since October, it's been a very steady climb upwards.
Last question, Henry.
Henry Bushnell from Yahoo Sports. Regan, you talked a bit earlier about the floodgates opening and going personal best. Think you can go even faster in Paris?
I hope so. I'd love to. I think 56 is a possibility for sure. Whether it's me or whether it's one of my competitors, who knows? But yeah, I'm not going to sell myself short. Absolutely not. That was an amazing race, but it wasn't a perfect race. So I know there's things that I can clean up and do better, and I'm going to work towards that.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you, Regan.
Thank you, guys.